Okay, good morning, everyone. You're welcome to this makeup class, and I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. So today we'll be talking about how to connect Power BI interface with Tableau and with Python, uh, R, and also SQL Server. So we're going to go through how to use Power BI with these other three powerful tools. As you can see, I'm on the interface of Power BI, and I'm going to, that once you open Power BI, this is the first screen you're going to see. So I'm going to close this and quickly introduce you to this. If you look at it, on this side of the visual, you see something like R, you see something like Python, which are visualization that you can uh, create with Python and R. At the same time, if you come also to the get data, you can as well get data from an R script and a Python script. That means you can write a Python code and an R code to get your data. So if you look at get data, if you look at other sources, you can see R script. See this R script. You can as well go down. You will also see Python script somewhere. That is R scripts. So see. Okay, yeah. Sorry, they are even together. So you can see R and Python scripts. You see them here. R script, Python script. So that is one of the things we're going to be doing today. And the other things we'll be doing is also how to connect your Power BI to another source, which is the SQL Server. So if you also look at it, go to go to more, then you will also see that under the database category that I can easily connect Power BI to a database and as well get data from a database. So once this is open, you can see that I have databases and I have SQL Server. So I can connect to a SQL Server. I can as well connect to an Access database. That's possible. So let's connect to a SQL Server. Let's connect to a SQL Server. So we run R script and we run Python script. So I think it's best we start with SQL Server. So we're going to connect to SQL Server. But before we connect to the SQL Server, I'm going to quickly demonstrate how you're going to install, because that's the first thing. You got to get it installed on your system before you can connect to it. So it's also possible that this SQL Server is not on your system. So it can be an on-premises application, server that is on-premises. That means it's on your site, maybe in your office, you have a server where you have all your database created on it. So you can easily connect Power BI to that server. But in our situation, for the purpose of this practice, so all we'll be doing is connecting to a server that we have installed on the system. So it's still going to be the same thing, providing the server name and every other credential for the server. That is all you need when you are connecting to a server, a SQL server. So I'm going to demonstrate quickly how to get that installed on your system. Then after that, then we'll now see how we can connect Power BI to it. If it is not also installed on your system, it could be something on premises, as I mentioned earlier. So the server could be on site in your office, and then you need to connect Power BI to it. So all you need is to get the server credentials. So quickly, I'm going to take us through how to install SQL Server. That's the first thing. Okay, so the installation process, you're going to follow a set of instructions that I've shared with you before. Remember this set of instructions that I've shared with you on Telegram before? So I'm going to follow the same step, and we're going to run through it and have it installed on my own system. So the first thing is to check the system that you use. So are you using a Windows 10 or Windows 8? So the kind of Windows you're using, the kind of operating system you are using on your system will go a long way to determine the kind of link you're going to click on. So if you're using Windows 8, you use this link. If you're using Windows 10, you're going to use this link. So this link is to download the Microsoft SQL Server. So the link is to download the Microsoft SQL Server. So the illustration is like this. There is a server that houses databases. So in a server, in a particular server, there are databases. So in a particular database, you can have one or two or three tables. So you can have table 1, you can have table 2. You understand? You can have up to 3 or 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10 tables in a database. And in a server, this is the server, and the server, you can have more than one database. So you can create more than one database on a server, and in a database, you can have more than one table. So what I'm going to do now is to put this server on my system and create database on it. So this server can also be on premises, can be installed on some of on the server on your data center in the office. So now let's get started with all of this. How do we install this on the system first? Then we'll now see how we can connect to it. So following the installation process, I'm going to click on this link now because I'm using a Windows 10 operating system. So I'm going to click on this link. So let me click on it. It should bring up my browser. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, so it has brought up the browser. So something I forgot to mention the other time is that there is a SQL Server Management Studio and there is a SQL Server. So what you use to communicate to the SQL, okay, let me draw that again so that it's, so I told you earlier that there is a server and there are databases in it. So what you use to communicate to the server, you understand, what you use to communicate with the server is for example, this is the server, a separate system in your database, you understand, and you work on your own laptop in the office with Power BI. This is your laptop in your desk. So you work here. You need to install an operating system here. What I call operating system is this SQL Server Management Studio, which is the SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS. That is what you will install on this system. That will give you interaction, will be able to make you interact with the server. So you use the SQL Server Management Studio to interact with the server. So what it means is it helps you to manage everything on the server. You can use to manage everything on the server. You can use to query the server. So this is where you write your query. So when we do SQL, I'm going to deal with this in tense. So you write your query here. It transmits to the server to spool whatever the information you're requesting for. So that means I need both. I need the server to be on my system. I need the SSMS to be on my system. You understand? So I install the server on my system. I install this also on my system. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. So now that we have the link, because when I click on the link the other time, it brought out this. You understand? So I click on the link. Remember this link for Windows 10. Immediately I click on it, it brought me to the website. So, and the next instruction is for me to scroll down to Express and click on download now. So I'm going to go back to the page, scroll down to Express, clicking on download now. So you can see it has started downloading. So the next set of instruction after it has downloaded is that we should run, you can see I should run the file after download is complete. So I'm going to go to my system and locate where the file was downloaded. Definitely it's going to be under my download. So I'm going to check on my download. So I'll go to files, go to download. So you can see the file that I downloaded. So I'm going to install it. Ask me to run the file. So I'll double click on it to run the file. So I'll wait for it to run. So once it starts running, it's going to look like this. Can you see? So the next instruction is for me to select the basic installation option. So you can see basic. So I'm going to select this basic installation option. I'm going to click on it. So you see the next is to accept. And of course, it's giving me the location where it should be. So I'm going to install that. So while it's installing, I'm going to wait for it to finish installing and I'll go to the next step. Okay, you can see the progress line. So I'm going to wait until this finish installing, then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, you can see that the installation has been completed. That's the installation for the SQL Server. It's now successful. And let's see the next set of instruction based on what we have here. Select the basic installation, which we have done. At the end of the installation, you will see an option to install SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So let's go to the screen and see the option, which is this. Can you see this option to install SSMS? So I'm going to install SSMS. The server is where the database is created. That is what we have installed. Now we need to install a tool that we use to manage that server, which is the SSMS. So I'm going to click on SSMS to install that. So while that page is opening, so let me go to the next set of instruction. Click on install SSMS and allow to install. If you are unable to see the SSMS installation, close. We are able to see that, so we're going to skip this. Install SSMS setup after download. You're done. So let's see. So this is it. Download SQL Server. So go down and see download SQL Server Management Studio SSMS. So we're going to download this. So we download. So this is going to take some time because it's like about 600 you can see the size. The size is about 640 MB, and this is just 12 out of 640. So it's going to take some time for it to download. So we're going to wait for it to finish downloading, then we'll come back to see how it works. Okay, you can see that the download has been completed and I have the file complete. So the next action to do is to open the file. So I try to open the file, click on that, or I go to my download to check it out. So you can see that I have this screen open. So the next thing is to click on install, or if you want to change the source, the location where to install into, you can change. But I'm going to leave it like this and click on install. So I'm going to wait for this installation to get complete. Okay, we can see that the setup has been completed. Now I have both the SQL Server and the SQL Server Management Studio installed on the system. So I'm going to open it up to even confirm if it has been installed at all. So what I will do is to go to this. You can see showing this. So let me go to Microsoft. So do I have, so let me go here. You can see that here, SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm going to open that up. So when you open it, it's going to show you this screen. So I'll wait for it to open up. So once that application, the SQL Server Management Studio is open, what you will see is this interface. And this interface, this is the SQL Server we have installed before, which is the SQL Server Express. That is what we installed, remember? And this is the name of my computer. You can see that I have orders here. I have SQL Server, this, I have this one. No, this is the name of my computer. So I have SQL Server Express. Can you see? So this is what I'm connecting to. So if you don't see that, you go to the drop down, you will see all the server that you have. So you connect to the server you have installed. So I click on connect. So immediately I click on connect, you can see on this left hand side, on the left hand side, you can see some screen. You can see on this screen, database, security, server object, replication, polybase, management, and all the likes. So what we're going to be working with is the database. Let's see what database do we have in here. Is expanding. So you can see a lot of databases that I have created before. These are the ones I have created before. So what I would do is to connect to the other one and see which. So you see, I have all the database I have worked with before. You can see them here. Is that clear? So once if you want to create a new database, you can create that. So in our SQL class, I'm going to be teaching you how to create database, how to insert columns, how to insert information into the database. Is that clear? So because this class is not a SQL class, so I'm going to be working with the database that is here. Peradventure, you don't have any database here. What you will do is to add a database. So you can add the database by creating one, or you can get a database from the internet. There is a database that is used for practice from the internet that you can easily connect to. It is called AdventureWorks. So peradventure, if you don't have all of these, so if you don't have any of these, because I have this created by myself, so if you don't have this, I'm going to show you another way where you can work with existing databases. Is that clear? So let me go through that with you so that you have something to work with. So for you to do that, you first go online and look for AdventureWorks. AdventureWorks. So you can see AdventureWorks database. Click on it, and you can see Doc AdventureWorks sample databases. So I'm going to click on that. So I'm going to see where I can get that from. So let me see. Download backup file AdventureWorks 2019. So let's see what is the latest here. 2019 is probably the latest. So I'm downloading the lightweight. So let me download the lightweight because all of these could be too heavy. So I got to download this and click on save. So it is just 8 MB, 8 megabytes. So I have that saved already. So the next thing is to add that to my engine. So I'm going to add that to my engine. Okay, just as I've said, that if you install or if you open up your interface, that the SQL Server Management Studio, and you are unable to see any database here because I have created this before, that's why you can see this, and you want to work with a database, what you will do is to come here. I told you earlier to go online and download. So you download sample database. So you can download either this or this. So you can download what? Either this or this. So I advise you to download the data warehouse. It contains more data than this, than the lightweight. So download data warehouse. If you download the lightweight, it's the data you have is less. So you use this because we are still going to use it for SQL later. So I would advise you to download this. So once you have downloaded this, you should have it as part of your download. So if you go to my download, you see this 2019 and you see the size 99 MB, 99 megabytes. So what I would do is to copy this, copy it, and go to your computer. So you copy that and go to computer, go to this desktop, go to the local disk, click on open, then go to program files, click on open, then you go to SQL Server. You can see Microsoft SQL Server. Open it up. You see MSS SQL Express. This is what we downloaded. So you open it up, you open it, then go to backup. So you see it here. So before you get here, ordinarily, when you open backup, you will not see anything. So you're going to paste what you have copied. So you paste what you have copied. So when you paste that, your work has not finished. So the next thing to do is to restore this on the SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm going to close this window. Now I'm back on this screen, the SQL Server Management Studio. So while on this screen, the next thing to do is to right click on databases, right click on databases. So even from here, you could create a new database. It's possible. So it's going to be a database without data. But now I want to restore a database that I have. So I click on restore. Can you see? I click on restore, restore databases. So I'm going to restore database called AdventureWorks. So I'm going to do what? Go to device, click on these three ellipses and click on add. Once you click on add, you see that you now have that database here, AdventureWorks D 2019. So click on it and click on OK. Immediately you click OK, you can see that has been added. So you click on OK again for you to finalize the whole process. Look at this side, you see that there's nothing, there was nothing called AdventureWorks before. Now I now have AdventureWorks. You can see I have AdventureWorks now. So let me open up AdventureWorks and see the tables I have. I told you that in a database we have different tables. So these are the different tables I have. I have tables for international sales. Can you see? I have table for date, I have for currency, I have for customers. So let's see what we have under customers. What are the columns? So under customers, I have different columns. So you can see information about the particular customer. The title, the first name, the middle name, the last name, the name style, the birth date, the suffix, the gender, and all of this that I have from customers. So in SQL, if you want to write a new query, what you will do is to come to new query, click on new query. So click on new query, ensure that your query is to a particular database. All of these are the different databases I have. But now I want to query AdventureWorks database. So I ensure that this is selected. That can also be by saying that use AdventureWorks. So I can as well specify the query to use here, AdventureWorks. So no matter what it is, here, it is going to write, it's going to put this query on AdventureWorks. You understand? First, either you select this and make this to be AdventureWorks, or if you forget to use AdventureWorks, always put AdventureWorks. Always specify the query or the database to be queried. So for example, if I want to select every information from customer, from dim customer, can you see customer table? So what I would do is to still select. So I'm going to still teach you all of this, how to write the different query in SQL. Select. So I'm going to select star. Star means that I'm going to select all columns from customer. Star from customer. So immediately I start typing, you can see that it brought out a suggestion for me that this is the right way. Dim customer. So I click on dim customer. Then I run the query. I execute. Immediately I execute the query. Can you see that it has brought out the information I have on the data on the table for me? Can you see that on the table I have the customer ID, the customer key rather, then the geography key, all of this, all of this, all of this. You can see that this table is so large. If I connect Power BI to this and extract the whole of this table, sometimes it doesn't make sense because I may not have to use all the columns in this table. If I don't want to use all the columns in this table, how do I streamline to the number of columns I have? So now that we have set up SQL, all we need to do now is see how we can connect SQL to Power BI. Is that clear? So with my Power BI interface opened, so I'm going to get data. get to more, or I can just click on SQL Server here or import from SQL Server here instead of going through all the process of get for more database, SQL Server Database, and click on connect. So it's asking me for server name. So can you remember our server name? So our server name is the name of my system slash the query. So I'm going to copy the server name from here. So I open up this and look for where is my server name. I remember that my server name is this to this point, right? So let me see how I can get that out. So I'm going to quickly, okay. So can I copy that? No. So all you need to do is to quickly open up this and uh, maybe take a snapshot of this name. So what I need to get is desktop slash F8Q0E49, 48, 47 rather, SQL Express. Okay, let me see if I can just put that aside. Desktop. Okay, so F8Q0E47. So let me type desktop slash desktop less F8Q, right? E047. I think that is the name. F8Q0E47 slash SQL Express. F8Q0E47. I think it's 0E47. 0E47. Then slash SQL Express. Right? Express. Okay. So database, if I want to specify the database, good. If I want to put the database here, what will I do? I'll click on Adventure Works DNet. So I will specify that. But this is optional. It's optional. So if I specify the database, it will go straight to the database. If I don't specify the database, to give me options of the database that exist in that server. So let me click on OK. So once I click on OK, it should connect now to this. Okay, let me see now. So I'm going to use my current credential. Let me see if I click on. Do I need a username? Let me just do a Windows connection and do connect. Able to connect the data source using an encrypted connection. To access the data using an unencrypted. So yes, unencrypted, fine. So it's loading up, loading up, loading up. So you can see now that it's giving me all the databases that exist on my server. Look at it. It's giving me the names of all the different databases that exist on my server. But if I don't want to go through all of this, because now I don't want to be going through all of this, I have to specify this the name. So I have tried this. I want to do the other one and let's see the difference. Erase. So let's do the other one and so that you see the difference. So I'm going to do by specifying the name of the database. Now I'm going to put the name Now I'm going to put Adventure Works DW 2019. Is that clear? So let's see the because that with that I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm not going to see all of this. I'm just going to see the database, the precise database I want to query, which is better. So I have said that now I want to do the other way. I want to do query, connect to database. Now I want to specify the name. So I want to specify the name of the database that I want to query. So I'm going to also bring in the name of my server as well. So we're putting, remember it is desktop slash, hyphen. I have F8Q, okay, F8Q 0E47 slash express. Is that clear? So the name of the database, which is this Adventure Works DW 2019. That's the name of the database. I'm going to put that Adventure Works. Oh, so I'm going to do add. So start with capital Adventure Works DW 2019. So now let me use this opportunity to explain the difference between direct query and import. So if you look at this place, you have two options of either to import the data or to do a direct query. So by importing the data, you are pulling every information from the database, all the rows, all the columns, you are pulling them into Power BI. So what is the demerit of this? The demerit is that once the information is full, it's now become too heavy for Power BI because the data you are pulling is also very large. You understand that it is large. Because of that, most of the time when you are connecting to database, it is best for you to do a direct query instead of import. So with a direct query, what it means is that whenever you refresh your Power BI, the query is going to be sent to the database again to pull the most recent information. Unlike when you do import. When you do import, it's going to bring in the data. It is until you go again to import another set of data, nothing will go, no query will be reflected on the database. This does not mean that all the changes you make when you do direct query it doesn't impact your database. If you delete a column by using a direct query, it does not mean that on your database that column is going to be deleted. It doesn't work that way. The only the way it works is that anything you do, any query you do here is going to be bringing information from the database. But the query cannot edit your data source. Your maybe you want to delete anything will not happen to your data source. You understand? So now, if I do import, I told you that I'm going to import every information to Power BI. I prefer to do a direct query. So let me do direct query. After that, we'll now do an advanced option. We'll select option where we will now specify the columns to pick. Is that clear? But now let's limit it to direct query. Let's click on OK. So connect. So you will see the difference between this and what we did before. So what we did before showed all the databases that exist in my server, on that server. But now, what you will see now is just going to be the network related instances, edit. So let me see. Let me see what it. Okay, I can see that the server name is wrong. This one should have SQL Express, not just SQL, not Express, just SQL Express. So I click on OK again. There was an error in the name, so I have to type the name again. Let me be sure that this is desktop F8QOE47 SQL Express. Okay, let's check. Desktop FQ8. Okay, F8Q. FQ8. So this is F8Q. 8Q. F8Q OE47. Okay. F8Q OE47. SQL Express. Okay. Let me check here as well. SQL Express. Okay. This is Adventure Works DW 2019. So let's check the name. Adventure Works. Okay. There is S after work. DW 2019. So let's be sure that is right. So I'm going to connect now. I'm going to do a direct query. Click on OK. So you can see it's bringing the option that we are not able to connect using. So I'm going to click OK. Talking about the encryption, which is, so I told you that the difference between this and the other one would be that with this now, I'm going to see only Adventure Works. Only, without seeing every other database. You can see now that this takes me straight to AdventureWorks, and I can see all the columns in AdventureWorks. Unlike the other one that took me to what? It took me to see all other columns, but now I'm seeing only the AdventureWorks. So in AdventureWorks, I have customer, which is a table. So let me select customer table. You cannot have a preview of the customer table. You can see the customer key and every other information about customer. You can see it. So the beautiful thing about when you are connecting to a database is that when you see you can see from this table that you can see this other table, FAT is saying FAT internet sales table, FAT survey response table. That means this table is related to all of these tables. So if I want to see other related tables, what I will do is I'll just select related tables. You can see it has selected geography. It has selected FAT internet sales as a related table and FAT survey response as a related table. If I select related table again, it selects more tables because all these other tables that the first table is connected to also have some other tables that are related. So if I select related table as well, you can see that I have more tables now. If I select related table as well, until probably every other table is selected because all of them, it is a relational database. What we call relational database means that all the tables in that database are related in one way or the other. So, but is it what I want? Do I want to load all the tables? No, I wouldn't want to load that. So what I will do is to uncheck all of them. So let me just uncheck them and okay, let me uncheck all Okay, now let me go to, I said customer, right? So let me click on customer and probably just go to all the tables that are related to just customer, geography, fact internet sales, and survey response. That is fine. So I'm going to do transform data because I want to see the data. I want to transform it before loading it. We don't want to assume that because it's on in a database, it's coming clean. So I assume that it's possible there are dirty information in the data, then I will want to see. Okay, you can see that this has been loaded. You can see, and you can see on the screen, you can see the different tables that has been extracted. Can you see? So let me do close and apply. Let me just do a close and apply. Let me apply. So by so doing, I have successfully connected Power BI to extract information from a database. But another thing I want to show you is that all of this, I'm pulling tables. With what I have done, I'm pulling table from the database. What about if I don't want to put the table in its whole entirety? Maybe if I want to just select some sets of column from the table, is that possible? Then let's see and try out how we can achieve that. So now you can see the table that I have loaded, and you can see on my Power BI, you can see them here. You can see them. You can see the table. Then another thing I want to show you quickly is when you go to this side. So when you come here, what do you see? You see visualization and you see what? Relationship. Something is missing. What is that? The data is missing. So there's something called, we normally see three things here before. But now one is missing because the data is not housed in the data model of Power BI. Because we are connecting to this data directly. We are doing a direct connection to the data. That is why you cannot see data here. So any connection, any query here is sending those queries to the database. So you are not importing anything and we're housing it in the data model of Power BI. That is why you don't see anything data here. There's nothing like data. So you cannot create additional column on the data. You understand those kind of things. So let me see. So for example, if I say new column, so I cannot do that from Power BI. I can only now do that from the query editor. You understand? So I can create new columns if I want from here. So let me quickly close this because I don't want to create any additional column. And any of the new column you create doesn't mean that it's not going to reflect on your database. Is that clear? So let's go to relationship and see. Because we said these tables were related. Remember, when we imported the table, I select related tables. So because of that, you can see that relationship has been because they were actually related. You can see that relationship has been created at a point these tables, these tables were imported because they were actually related. And because I selected related tables and they are related indeed, you can see relationship has been formed between the tables. Is that clear? Another thing I want you to know about, upgrade to the new model to improve design to make it. So I'm going to update later. So another thing I want you to note quickly is that these properties, select option of model or to see properties. So if I select this, I will see the property of this. So let me see from here, row label, key. So this is where you can add synonyms. Enter comma separated list of synonyms. What is other name for for customer? For customer table, I can specify other names. You understand? That synonyms we did the other time. So that same applies to column. So birthday, I can as well also give it synonyms. I can say birth month. You understand? That kind of a thing. So I can do that. So I want us to go to advanced. Under advanced, you see the option where it is tell you the query type, the storage mode. You can see this is direct query because that is what I selected. It is not import. So look at this. Immediately I click on import, you can see that setting the storage mode to import has the following implication. Please consider them carefully before proceeding. So let's read the implication of importing our data. Setting storage mode to import is an irreversible operation. You will not be able to switch back to direct query. So while you are on direct query, you can switch to import the data. You can decide to import the data. But when you have imported the data, you cannot use direct query. You understand? So this operation will refresh table set to import or drawer, which may take time depending on the factors such as data volume, because we are importing. Now, if I'm changing it to import, the data volume will also determine. Weak relationship may be introduced by this change. The number of weak relationships can be reduced by setting the following data to do this. So say that I should set the other table that dim geography to do as well for it to reduce that. Set the further table to do, which is this. If I don't want to, I can select. So if I want to now change this, before I did a direct query, right? So if I now want to import the data, I can change to import. So if I change it to import and click on OK, it's going to import the data. And after that, you are going to see the data here. You are going to see this as data. You're going to see the third tab here, which is data. So let me wait for it because the data is large. It's going to take some time. So you can now see that I now have the three tab here. You can see I have the three tab here now because I have now decided to import the data instead of doing direct query. By so doing, my data, my Excel file, my Power BI file has become larger. It's going to be larger now because now I have so many other things embedded in this file. Is that clear? So now I have changed this. Is it possible to do direct query again? It is not possible. You can see setting the storage mode to direct query has the following implication. Please consider them carefully. Cache data will be lost by converting the direct query mode. Switch back to Dua will reduce. Okay, let me see if I do direct, because you said it is irreversible the other time. Let me see. So it's actually irreversible. Look at it, because I still have my data tab. This table uses direct query and cannot be shown. It's saying that table uses direct query. So what happened is that the information has been expunged, the information I imported. So let me see other table that I didn't use direct query on. So this one, I did not use direct query on this. Can you see? Okay, let's try this once more. Let's try what I was trying to explain. Let's display it on this once more. Now that we're on geography, let's go to relationship, and let's change geography to import. Let's try to import and click on OK. We are going to import. Then I click on geography. Okay, let me leave customer. Before, customer was on direct query. Now I've changed it back to what it was on direct query. Now I've changed it back to import. You can see that I have the data. So I can as well change it back to direct query. The data will not be showing here. It will be querying the database directly. So is that clear? So now, having this in mind, let's just quickly do some other things. Okay, you know that the other time when we try to import data, we connected to a table. We connected to a table, right? When we imported that table, we imported those tables that we wanted from Adventure Works. Remember, Adventure Works connected to tables. Now, we don't want to import all the information on a particular table. So, for example, I want to look at this. So, somebody in the sales department has come to me to say that they want the customer key. They also want the corresponding first name of the customer, the middle name of the customer, the last name of the customer, the date of birth of the customer, and probably the email address. Whereas and the gender, these are the things they want. They don't want this marital status. They don't want all of this to appear in whatever I am importing into Power BI. Is that clear? So I'm going to also move forward. You can see they don't want every other information. All of this information is what they don't want. All of these other information. And you can see them, they are so plenty. Date of purchase, all of this information they don't want. Address, they don't want number, they don't want house owner flag, they don't want French occupation, Spanish occupation, English occupation, French education, Spanish education, and all of these other things they don't want. But this is what they want. They want the customer key, the first name, the middle name, the last name, the birth date, the gender, and the email address. So the initial process, what we did ab initio, will show us what? Will show us all the columns. Will show us all the columns in the database. But what we are going to do now is that instead of importing all the columns from the database, why don't we restrict the information to only the things we want? So let me do select this time. Instead of selecting star, which is saying that selecting everything from the database. Now let me say I'm selecting customer key, which is this, comma, customer, okay,